happening today. Educators within the Holyoke Public Schools will be staging group walk-ins throughout the day. Western Mass News reporter Reagan Stoddard joins us live in studio. Now, Reagan, why are they doing this?
Well, Sloan, Monday night, Education Secretary Patrick Tutwiler announced the continuation of restricted workers' rights, prompting members of the Holyoke Teachers Association to take action. Starting at 7 a.m., educators from multiple different work sites will hold these walk-ins to demonstrate their solidarity. Their hope is to protect students, public education, and communities from specific policies looking to be implemented. But Education Secretary Patrick Tutwiler remains certain removing Holyoke Public Schools out of receivership will be a step in the right direction.
During the development of the exit assurances, the then acting commissioner, Russell Johnson, and now myself, consulted with the district union leadership, the mayor, Holyoke school committee members, the district leadership, to identify specific pieces to continue on into the next phase of local control.
Those participating in the Holyoke walk-ins also plan to share their disapproval with the state's plan to keep the harshest elements of state control. Be sure to stick with Western Mass News as we bring you the latest information on this story all throughout the day. Reporting live in studio, Reagan Stoddard, Western Mass News.